A former speaker just threw a blunt challenge at Nigeria's new opposition coalition. Stop selling anger and start selling alternatives. If you can't present better policies, he says, Nigerians shouldn't take you seriously. This story matters now because Nigeria is already sliding into 2027 talk while many homes are still trapped in 2026 struggle. Cost of living, security fears, the naira's value, and job pressure are not online arguments. They decide real survival. So when politicians begin positioning early, the public's first demand is simple: show the plan, not the noise. On January 26, 2026, Yakubu Dogara, a former Speaker of the House and a leader in the ruling party, said leaders of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, cannot be taken seriously ahead of the 2027 elections unless they present clear alternatives to the reforms the federal government says it is implementing. In a Sunday TV interview, Dogara argued that the coalition's public talk sounds more like anger than ideas. He asked a question that cuts deep in Nigerian politics. What exactly is the vision they are rallying behind? To understand why this statement is causing heat, you have to go back a few months. In July 2025, a broad opposition alliance adopted the ADC as a platform for 2027, pulling together prominent political figures, among them Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, David Mark, Rotimi Amaechi, Rufai, and Rauf Aregbesola, who want to challenge the ruling APC. The coalition's pitch has been straightforward. Nigeria is facing rising poverty, economic hardship, and insecurity, and the ruling party must be stopped at the next election. That message has found an audience because many Nigerians feel the pain daily. Dogara's response is basically, pain is real, but anger is not a policy. He said criticism alone is not enough. Nigerians expect viable alternatives. Until the opposition brings alternatives that can be examined and judged as better than what exists, he argued, the country should not treat the coalition as a serious option. And he described what he sees right now as political gimmicks. This is where the story becomes bigger than Dogara versus the ADC. It becomes a debate over what Nigerians should reward between now and 2027, emotion or evidence. Supporters of Dogara's position are already cheering. They say Nigeria's opposition culture has been lazy for too long, too many insults, too little detail. In their minds, a serious opposition does not just shout change. A serious opposition explains what it would do differently on fuel prices, foreign exchange, taxes, security, jobs, and social protection. They like Dogara's challenge because it forces the ADC camp to bring a blueprint, not vibes. But there is another camp that hears Dogara and laughs, not because they love the ADC, but because they distrust the whole political class. These Nigerians say, of course, a ruling party heavyweight will demand alternatives while people are suffering. For them, Dogara's words sound like classic political self-defense. Make the opponents look unserious early, then watch public anger stay scattered. And then, there are Nigerians who don't want to join either fan club. They are tired, not foolish. Their view is, if the government wants patience, show results. If the opposition wants power, show plans. No romance, no hero worship. Now, Dogara's timing is not accidental. Nigeria's economy has been through major policy shocks since 2023. The Tinubu administration removed fuel subsidies and moved toward unifying the exchange rate and liberalizing foreign exchange management, reforms that international institutions have described as deep and long avoided. Supporters argue these changes are necessary to stop waste, fix distortions, attract investment, and rebuild the economy, even if the adjustment is painful. The opposition argument is just as loud. Nigerians should not be used as sacrificial lambs for reforms that are not yet delivering relief. When petrol prices rise, transport costs rise. When the naira weakens, import-heavy goods rise. When inflation rises, salaries become jokes. So the ADC coalition's rhetoric about hardship has a real foundation because households feel it at the market, not on paper. Dogara is saying, If you are going to use that hardship as your campaign engine, then show Nigerians your alternative engine. Otherwise, you are just riding suffering to power. That demand sounds fair, but it also creates a standard the ruling party cannot escape. If the government asks people to endure reforms, Nigerians can ask, where is the cushioning? Where is the transparency? Where is the anti-corruption discipline that proves this pain is not just another transfer from the poor to the powerful? And where are the security gains ordinary people can feel on roads, farms, and communities? Dogara tried to strengthen his argument by urging Nigerians to exercise patience, especially on security and the economy, saying problems built over years cannot disappear overnight. He argued that no leader has a magic wand, but that the current administration has shown leadership in areas previously neglected. Here is the truth Nigerians will accept. Big problems do take time. Here is the truth Nigerians will reject, talking down on citizens who are already stretched. Patience is earned with empathy and measurable progress. Without that, give it time becomes keep suffering, and that is political poison. Now, the ADC coalition also has its own internal headache, and it matters to this story. As 2027 approaches, the party's spokesman, Bolaji Abdullahi, has warned supporters of presidential aspirants against a my candidate or nothing mindset, saying division will only help the ruling party. That warning is an admission that the coalition risks collapsing under ego, factional fights, and personality worship, exactly how many Nigerian coalitions have died before they reach the ballot. So, while Dogara is attacking their lack of alternative policies, the ADC is also fighting a second battle, unity. Nigerians watching from outside are thinking, if you cannot manage your supporters and ambitions, how will you manage a complicated country?
A credible opposition will have to answer the hard questions plainly. On fuel and transport, it needs a plan that reduces costs without reopening the old subsidy racket. On foreign exchange, it needs a plan that increases confidence without returning to a system that rewards insiders. On security, it needs a strategy that protects civilians and holds commanders accountable. And on jobs, it needs more than promises. It needs clear priorities and timelines. And that is why Dogara's statement is powerful. It forces a test. If the ADC coalition responds with detailed alternatives, they grow stronger. If they respond with only anger and insults, they prove his point. This is where citizens matter. If you want Nigerian politics to stop being a circus, change what you reward. Demand specifics. Reject lazy propaganda. When you see a politician using pain as content, ask for the solution. When you see a politician selling hope, ask for the numbers. If you want more fearless, fact-led breakdowns like this, subscribe to Trends Hub and share this video with someone who needs the facts, not fanfare. So what happens next? Expect the ADC coalition to respond in one of two ways. They can take the hit and publish concrete alternatives, moving the conversation from insults to proposals. Or they can turn this into a personality fight, attack Dogara, attack the ruling party, attack everybody, while avoiding the hard work of presenting a plan. On the government side, expect more arguments that reforms are working and need time. But Nigeria's political reality is brutal. People will not clap for suffering forever. If results do not become visible in everyday life, prices calming, jobs improving, and security getting better, then even a weak opposition can become dangerous because desperation lowers standards. Dogara tried to frame this moment as a choice between serious reform and opposition gimmicks. Nigerians should widen the lens. The real choice is between performance and promises, no matter the party. For more urgent, plain language Nigerian political stories that call things by their name, subscribe to Trends Hub, drop your take in the comments, and share this video. In 2027, will Nigerians vote for patience or vote for change? And what policy proof will you demand before you choose?